For centuries, powerful institutions told you a story about human nature. They said you are selfish by default, that you are violent at your core, that without laws, authority, and punishment, you would tear each other apart. They built entire systems around that belief. Economic systems, political systems, school systems, prison systems. And here is what they never told you. They were wrong. Not slightly wrong, fundamentally, catastrophically wrong. And the science, hidden in plain sight for decades, proves it. Today, we are going to dismantle one of the biggest lies ever told about the human species. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never see yourself or other people the same way again. Let us start at the beginning. Where did this story come from? In 1651, a philosopher named Thomas Hobbes wrote that human life in its natural state is, and I quote his idea here, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. He believed humans were naturally at war with one another, that we needed a powerful ruler to keep our savage instincts in check. Then came Sigmund Freud, who told us we were driven by dark, unconscious desires, that beneath the civilized surface, we were beasts barely holding it together. Then economists built entire models assuming humans are purely self-interested. They even gave this fictional human a name, Homo economicus, rational, cold, always calculating personal gain. And then, the cherry on top, you were handed a distorted version of Darwin. Survival of the fittest, competition, the strong dominate the weak. That became the master narrative. Human nature equals selfishness, aggression, and competition. But here is what they conveniently left out. In 2012, a team of researchers at the University of British Columbia ran a fascinating experiment on toddlers, children between 18 months and 2 years old, before they could fully speak, before society had deeply conditioned them. They gave these toddlers treats. Then they showed them a puppet who also wanted treats. The toddlers, unprompted, with no reward for doing so, gave their treats away. Not sometimes, consistently. Here is what that tells us. At the baseline, before culture and media and school get involved, humans lean toward generosity. Now let us talk about the brain. Neuroscientists discovered something extraordinary inside your skull, a system called mirror neurons. When you see someone else in pain, your brain fires as if you are experiencing that pain yourself. You are literally wired for empathy. It is not learned, it is built in. And then there is oxytocin, sometimes called the trust hormone. Your brain releases it when you cooperate, when you help someone, when you feel connected to another person. Cooperation does not just feel good, your biology rewards it. Dutch historian Rutger Bregman, in his landmark work on human nature, reviewed hundreds of studies and came to one overwhelming conclusion. Most people, most of the time, in most situations, want to help, want to connect, want to do the right thing. So why does it not feel that way? Because the lie was useful to certain people. If humans are naturally selfish, you need strong authority figures to control them. If humans are naturally violent, you need institutions to protect you. If humans are naturally greedy, then a system that rewards greed is just following nature. The narrative of a dark human nature has been one of the most powerful tools of control ever invented, and the media made it worse. There is a concept in psychology called the availability heuristic. Your brain judges how common something is based on how easily you can recall an example. The news shows you conflict, crime, and cruelty. Not because those things define humanity, but because they are dramatic. Your brain then assumes the world is full of those things. You are walking around with a distorted map of reality. Here is a striking example. When Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005, the media was filled with reports of looting, violence, and chaos. That became the story. What was buried? The thousands of ordinary citizens who waded through floodwater to rescue strangers, who shared their last food, who slept on each other's floors for weeks. Disasters, study after study shows, do not bring out the worst in humans. They bring out the best.
So what is our actual nature? Evolutionary anthropologists tell us that for 95% of human history, we lived in small, cooperative bands. We shared food. We made decisions together. Hoarding was not just frowned upon. It was dangerous to the group and to the hoarder. Our survival was never about the strongest individual. It was about the most cooperative group. The tribes that trusted each other, helped each other, and worked together. Those are the ones that made it. And we are their descendants. Franz de Waal, one of the world's leading primatologists, spent decades studying chimpanzees and bonobos, our closest genetic relatives. He found that even in these animals, empathy, reconciliation, and fairness are not rare. They are fundamental. Animals share food. They console the distressed. They punish those who cheat. Morality, de Waal argued, did not come from religion or civilization. It evolved. It is ancient. It is in your DNA. And then there is what psychologists call post-traumatic growth. You have heard of post-traumatic stress. But research shows that for many people who experience deep suffering, loss, illness, war, the dominant outcome is not permanent damage. It is growth. Increased compassion, deeper purpose, stronger relationships. Humans are not just resilient, we are transformative. Now here is where this gets personal. If you believe humans are selfish, you become more selfish. Studies show that simply teaching economics students the Homo economicus model, the selfish rational actor, makes them behave more selfishly. The belief shapes the behavior. The story you carry about human nature determines how you treat people, whether you trust strangers, whether you invest in communities, whether you think it is worth trying to make the world better, or whether you just protect yourself and assume the worst. Here is the radical implication. If the dominant story about human nature is wrong, then the systems built on that story deserve to be questioned. Every institution, every policy, every structure that treats humans as problems to be managed rather than people to be trusted deserves a second look. This is not naive optimism. It is not ignoring evil. Evil exists. Cruelty exists. But they are the exception, not the rule.
The rule, the baseline, the default setting, is a species capable of breathtaking kindness, creativity, and solidarity. You are not a beast in a cage. You are not a sinful creature barely kept in line. You are the product of millions of years of cooperation. You are built for connection. You are wired for meaning. They hid this about human nature because a population that believes in its own goodness is harder to control, harder to manipulate, harder to sell fear to. But now you know. The next time someone tells you that greed is just human nature, you know better. The next time a headline makes you despair about the world, you know better. The next time you are tempted to assume the worst about a stranger, you know better. You are not the problem. You never were. The lie was the problem. And the first act of liberation is knowing it was a lie. If this shifted something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to go deeper into the science of who we really are, subscribe, because we are just getting started.